take projection.
Welcome everybody to Take It On Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you tonight?
I'm pretty good. Trying to stay healthy. I'm in a home with a sick wife and a sick kid, and who knows? The dog might be sick. Who knows? Yeah. Good times. Just great. I think the dog's fine. She just wishes it would stop.
The dog's good.
She's good. She just wishes it would stop storming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But man. Back of course with y'all after a couple weeks. Missed some things, the end of the NBA Finals. Let's start NBA. A whole lot of NBA things going on. Of course, the
lot of stuff.
Thunder win the finals in 7. Great series, just like we thought it would be beforehand.
Absolutely.
Of course, it'll probably be remembered, or if the first thing people think of when they think of this one will be Therese Halliburton going down. It turns out to be a torn or popped, whatever, Achilles.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
About 5-10 minutes in the first quarter, game 7.
And he was having a hell of a game too.
He was, yeah. Started high, and then they even, to their credit, Pacers had to lead at halftime, but OKC too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you what? There'll be those that say, "Well, the Pacers may have won." We'll never know that, but never had a little closer game. But still, you got the, I don't know. Game 7 in Oklahoma City, I think the Thunder would have found a way to win regardless. But you hate to see his season end like that, especially because it's gonna probably affect most of next season as well if he plays it all there.
Yeah, it's one of those injuries, a lot like
the worst part.
Yeah, like Jason Tatum, where it's just the nature of the Achilles injury, and particularly with basketball players. But
right.
Now Halliburton's pretty much, he's not going to be himself next year, even if he comes back next season. He's not coming back till late, and he's not going to be 100% until the 26-27 season now.
So it's tough.
Yeah, but a deserved result for the Thunder. MVP. SGA got Finals MVP to go along with his regular season MVP award. Yeah. Just absolute the best team by far this season.
Start to finish, and no wonder their first title. So kudos to the Thunder, and now we'll see. When we talked about it, man, folks are gonna start trying to go that route now instead of the big 3. Everybody likes to copy what seems to be working. Everybody was going for that big 3 model, and now everybody's gonna try to go this draft, and we're already starting to see it in some spots. So be interesting to see. As far as the Thunder, they're all young. So if they stay healthy and find a way to stay together, we could have a little run there. So we'll see. A couple years ago, I thought Denver was gonna have a little run, and they only won that one title. So
we'll exactly. See how nothing's ever guaranteed in NBA. But if any team is set up to have a run, it's the Thunder for sure.
Absolutely, they're young. They have a couple years before they have to pay a lot of people,
and they still have a ton of assets which they can flip and make a trade if something happens with the team in the chemistry. And they need to switch up the roster. They got so much that they can add another star or veteran or whatever. But you got guys, SGA, he's just getting into his prime.
Right.
You got guys like Chet, who's really only scratched the surface of his potential. A deep bench there. That's a team that's going to be. Jalen Williams made himself a star this playoffs and the finals.
Absolutely.
And this team's going to be around for a long time. You get the feeling. But like you said, first title for OKC. Congrats to those fans. Deserved, like we said, and they've been close a couple times before, and now it's real. A long process, but it has now paid off. And Indiana, they have a deep team as well, and they should at least make some noise in the East next year, weaker conference, and they can probably get into the playoffs and ruin somebody's year. But yeah, without Tyrese Halliburton,
Yeah, it's gonna be
they're
hard to win
looking.
a.
Yeah, next season's almost a mulligan there.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. I mean, you gotta look at where the East is at right now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have the Celtics without their Jason Tatum for most of next season. So who knows what's
Mm-hmm.
going on there? You've already seen them trying to free up some things with moving like Porzingis and moving Drew Holiday out. So I mean, so they've already started to see what and who knows? I mean, the Knicks still don't have a coach. I don't. I know they were talking to some people, and looks like they were going to get the assistant from Minnesota. But I mean, who knows how that's going to turn out? The Bucks. You see how the wide open Giannis situation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what can happen with that free agency. I mean, really, I mean the East, man, who knows? So what? It's gonna be wide open. Be really interesting.
It really is. I mean, the Cavs will probably be back. We'll see if they make any off-season changes, but
Right.
they'll be back and hungry to prove that this
Yeah.
regular season wasn't
Was
the
a real
fluke, and
thing.
that the
Right.
playoff loss was the fluke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Philly, who the hell knows with Embiid and Paul George? They could be falling down, or those two guys could bounce back and
Yeah.
play up to their potential. You got rising teams like Orlando, obviously made that big
Um,
trade for Desmond Bain.
yeah.
You got Detroit's young
Detroiters.
core just
Yeah.
improving. You got Atlanta's making moves, and they're trying to get back into the conversation, get back to the Eastern Finals like they were in
Absolutely.
21. So yeah, it's it's like you said, it's a wide open conference. So it'll be fun next year to watch that. Yeah, and of course the other big thing, NBA, staying with the NBA, of course this was draft week too.
Yeah.
So we saw, of course, the Mavericks did not trade away number one, did indeed get Cooper Flag. So it'll be, I saw a lot of those lineup things, like, oh, look at this starting five for the Mavs next year, and you got Kyrie and Clay,
Yeah.
Cooper,
They can stay
AD,
healthy.
and, yeah, exactly, and it's all about that core staying healthy, because that's hell of a five on paper,
On
but yeah,
paper,
they got to
on
stay
paper,
healthy.
on paper we got a hell of a roster, but if
Mm-hmm.
they can come be healthy in April and May and June, that's what we needed, especially because Kyrie, of course, who knows exactly when he'll be back. You know, but I would really would like you know if he's back in the second half of the season more than anything. We don't have to rush him back at all. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh, but yeah, so then number two, of course, Dylan Harper went
yeah,
to the Spurs, another team that people thought might make a little trade there. They did not. They got their guard of the future. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, because you got De'Aaron Fox, who's you made a big trade for this year, and now you got a guy coming in that plays the same position, really. So can you find a way for them
right.
two to work together?
Now Fox will be out. Will he be out still a little at the start, or is he? I know
I
he.
think he might. I'm not sure. Yeah, on his injury status there, but
But he was just. I mean, he's just too talented of a guy to really pass up on. I mean, that was one of the things you kind of find out a way to work, because Harper clearly was the number two guy on the board. Like you can't. It's one you couldn't really miss, and they weren't really going to trade it because there was a big talk about Giannis, but man, some of those things that people were saying would have to happen, that they were selling their kidneys basically to get Giannis, and it was kind of crazy, some of the scenarios for the Spurs to get that. But man, if they hit, and I hate it as a Mavs fan, but that Spurs, they're young, and if they stay healthy, man, that's a team that wow.
yeah, that's a hell of a core there. I mean, we mentioned
Yeah.
Stephen Castle there too, another guard. So yeah, they have to figure out that situation between
Right.
those three, but they got time to do it. Is the thing with them?
Yeah.
They're so young and so talented.
Right.
Yeah, like you
Uh,
said, it's
well,
the
with
Spurs have
that
done it
and
again.
Wemby
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
so,
Number
just
three,
wild.
the Sixers also did not make a trade, and they selected VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. Um, so a good pick for them, good young.
Yeah, very very athletic kind of guy.
Yeah, someone to pair back there with Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
So yeah, well, again, the story of the Sixers is the health of Paul George and
right,
Joel Embiid.
absolutely.
And then number four is where we started getting our real big surprises. Con Knipple kind of jumped maybe higher than some people thought, but the Hornets took him with the fourth pick, so he'll stay in the state of North Carolina there, coming from Duke, of course. Uh, Adds a great 3-point shooting threat to the Hornets this year.
All right,
Um, who,
lot of
yeah, who
size, length, as we found out. Man,
yeah, can play wing exactly. Yeah, as length to play wing here in the NBA and
they
uh,
kind of that's a team. I don't know, but the Hornets they have a lot of young talent there.
they do, and
That
then
they
a lot of guards type players too. Because just today they traded for Colin Sexton.
yeah,
Um,
who's still
yeah,
26.
exactly. Yeah,
He
crazy to
seems
think.
older, but he's only 26. Yeah, they have that. They have Ball, of course. They have our guy, and then of course Knuppel. I mean, a lot of young talent there. So who knows what
Yeah,
the
that's a lot of young talent. They did end up trading Mark Williams, so maybe they need a replacement at center there. But
yeah.
uh,
Well, you figured after that thing that eventually he was gonna go because that was a weird situation. Anytime a trade like that falls through, because
hmm
obviously they wanted to move him. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of sometimes hard to repair that relationship. Oh, hey, you're back. We're good. No,
yeah,
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 it's
we're
kind of
cool.
a
We're cool.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then number five, Ace Bailey finally went off the board.
yeah, kind of
Some
the
people thought he'd be number
story of the
three.
right.
Yeah,
It's
story
kind
of
of
the
the
evening.
story of the draft.
Another wing guy. Rumors that he was telling teams in that top five not to pick him. He only wanted to go to Washington or Brooklyn. Well, Utah didn't care. Danny Ainge, his staff selected him. I mean, it's a great talented player. He's a guy you can build your franchise around. We'll
Absolutely.
see if there's any underlying tension there. If he doesn't want to be in Salt Lake, but the right pick.
I
You
think,
you can't. You have to pick him if you're
yeah, he's
Utah there.
a
Yeah.
hell of a talent. I mean, I think overall it'd be okay. I think that was just kind of a more of a story line than anything. I mean, since he's been drafted there, he said all the right things. I mean, people are, oh, he's not even gonna show up. He already, is already in Salt Lake. So, I mean, I think overall he'll be fine there. I mean, it's, obviously not the sexiest place to go. And then we're a bad team this year, but we'll see what what he does there. But yeah, definitely way too talented. You gotta take that risk because man, he's a hell of a player. Just the fact that Rutgers had two top five. I mean, we'll probably never see that in another day in the NBA draft history.
Yeah, it's just as gonna some trivia questions way down the line, but two top
Yeah,
five picks and then not even making the tournament.
I
Uh,
ain't making it.
it's
But
crazy.
they've said that the rest of that roster was pretty
Pretty bad,
like
yeah.
yeah.
Comparative,
So
but
yeah,
Trey Johnson goes 6 to the Wizards. Jeremiah
talented.
Fears goes 7 to the Pels. And that pretty much was the expected top 7 in some order.
Yeah.
Malak from Duke. Some people thought he might sneak in there. Maybe Murray Boyles from South Carolina. They were,
Right.
ninth. Murray Boyles went
9th and
ninth
10th.
to Toronto. Yeah, Malak went
Mhm.
10th to Phoenix. The
Yeah.
first big surprise, I guess, was at number 8 with Igor Dimon from BYU, picked by Brooklyn.
Yeah. That's
People thought that was a bit of a stretch.
you know, for having 5 first round picks, I thought they did a terrible job drafting, but that's just me. Yeah,
Really?
five
Yeah.
first round picks and really didn't do anything amazing. I don't know. Yeah, kind of a stretch there, but I don't know. I don't. Who knows?
Yeah, there's
Who knows with
some
that?
other players that thought people thought might should Malak there, or a guy the Pelicans got at 13, Derek Queen. Some
Yeah.
people thought he's a top 10 talent. And I guess we could talk about that real quick. As a Pels fan, first of all, the pick I like. I really do. There are definitely questions as to if you can play him and Zion at the same time, and he's definitely got some defensive deficiency as well. But he's an
All
extremely
right.
talented
Can
scorer
score. We know that. Yeah.
and nimble for a guy his size.
Right.
We can put the team on his back. We saw that with Maryland. Guy about
Absolutely.
6'10", 250, and
Mm-hmm.
but can handle like a guard. That's not the problem. The problem is the trade that the Pelicans made to the Hawks, where they gave up, swapped picks. They had the 23rd pick as well, so they swapped that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sweeten that a little bit. And they gave a first-round pick next year, which I would have been hesitant to, but if you really like this guy, okay. However, they made it an unprotected pick. And they also, it's a swap with Milwaukee, so Atlanta now gets the favorable of the two swaps. So you're talking about a team that only won 21 games this year in the Pelicans, who have trouble staying healthy. They're, speaking of Achilles injuries, DeJounte Murray, he's still going to miss a significant portion
Yeah.
of next year because of his injury.
Yeah.
You got guys like Herb Jones coming off injuries, Trey
Mm-hmm.
Murphy coming off injuries, Zion, of course, he's always, granted
Jeez.
when he came back toward the end of the year, he was playing his
He
best
was
ball of his
talented.
career.
Yeah, it's been good.
But they're just a team that hinges so much on being healthy and finding the right mix, and then they play in the West, so it's no guarantee that they even make the play in.
Yeah.
And so you're hoping that
Oh,
that you don't have a crap year and give up a top 5 pick, and then B,
right.
you're hoping that Milwaukee keeps Giannis, finds some other pieces around him, and then gets back to the playoffs in the East themselves, so that you're not giving up too much. It's just so strange that they didn't place a protection
Yeah.
on this pick at all, or
Yeah, it's weird.
just something. They got a bunch of second-round picks. Why not throw them like 4 or 5 second-round picks like we've seen in a couple of these trades now?
Absolutely.
It's just so weird, and I just, if that's what it took to get your guy, I get it, but that's not as it's they're being panned so much by everyone in the league for this trade. Again, the picks themselves, Fears has his holes in his game too, but he was the best player on the board at 7.
Yeah,
And
man, he's a
if he
talented.
exactly, he's another guy. He's a point guard of the future.
Yeah.
And as a team that they traded C.J. McCollum, we haven't talked about that.
Right.
Yeah, earlier in
Yeah.
the week, a couple of days before the draft, the Pelicans traded C.J. McCollum and Kelly
Oh.
Olynyk to Washington and got Jordan Poole back. Jordan Poole, of course, played a lot better last year than his first season in Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot better.
So he's a guy. If you can get him and you get Golden State or last year Jordan Poole, then that's a great trade. I don't. A lot of people were
Absolutely.
talking about that one, how they gave up. CJ would have been on an expiring contract this year.
Right.
But
That's one thing.
I,
Washington has so much money coming off the board next year. It's ridiculous.
yeah, they're gonna be able to spend some money, but
It's
I
like
don't mind that trade. Actually,
$200 million. It's
yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy. I did not mind that trade at all.
No, it's not a
I
bad
think
trade.
Jordan Poole's a great guy to take a chance on. He's only, he's a big contract, but it's only 2 years. So
Right.
if it doesn't work out or you think it's going south, then next year you got an expiring contract you can trade.
Right. Exactly.
So just a really busy week. Joe Dumars is already putting his stamp on the team, very aggressive.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think. I mean, he's shown a difference. I mean, I think he's a good. I think he's a good roster management guy. But I mean, I like what y'all done, honestly. And
Yeah.
the draft picks maybe a little with like you said with the trade there, but I think you got two players that could have a lot of upside, a lot of potential, and if they stay you know healthy, and I think both have a chance to have solid NBA careers and Fears and
Queen, yeah.
Queen. Yeah, Fears and Queen, honestly. But
Yeah, no, like I said, the picks themselves, I didn't. I thought were really good. I didn't mind the trade for Poole. It was just that unprotected pick you're giving up next year
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it just has the potential to be like a top 3 pick in a good draft. What's going to be a good draft next year too.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
we'll
overall,
see.
I thought this
Yeah.
this draft was pretty solid draft. This
It
year.
was, yeah, another talented, a lot of guys. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida went to Utah at 18. Um,
Hmm.
that the pick that the Pels traded, 23rd pick to Atlanta, they ended up picking Asa Newell. So he's, home state
Staying
boy,
home.
staying in
Yeah.
Georgia. Um, so, it was a good draft. A little bit of drama, but not the huge drama some people thought. No, none of the
No,
top picks were traded
nothing
away.
really. And no real
Uh,
drama.
Giannis is still in Milwaukee, but the big trade of the week, of course, KD is now a Houston Rocket. Uh, Traded to Houston. Phoenix in return gets Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks.
Yep.
They got the 10th pick in the draft. It's, of course, what happened a couple days before the draft, and then which they use on Malak, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's who they'll get there. And then 5 second rounders.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, KD now is a Rocket, and we'll see how that he improves with that young roster. Looks like Phoenix might be going into reset mode there. We'll see,
Yeah.
or not. Who knows? That's
Who
a
knows?
lot
I
of
mean, they
guards
still
though.
they have a lot of guards.
You got
You would have
Jalen
to
Green,
give.
Dylan Brooks, Booker, and Bradley Beal. Someone's got to go there. At least one of them.
Yeah, someone's got to go.
Yeah.
Um, so we will see. I mean, I would think you would. Honestly, I mean, yeah. If anybody's gonna go, I would think Bill would go. I mean,
If
Devin
they can,
Booker's been there this whole time. Yeah, if anybody wants that
yeah, I think
contract, it's a lot of
Booker's
money.
the guy there, so they don't want to give him
Yeah,
up. But
no, he's been there the whole time, and
mm-hmm,
when he's prolific scorers, we know, just that whole thing did not work at all
mm-hmm,
with the KD, Booker and Bill. Did not work at all there, simply because they had no depth, they had no bench, they had nothing around it.
mm-hmm.
So just failed miserably there, and now yeah, but KD in Houston, I mean that'll be interesting. Of course, I mean the main thing with him is how how does he gel? We know he's one of the greatest offensive players of all time. There's no doubt. How
Mm-hmm.
talented he is, and he's going to get you buckets. But does it make him? Does it make that young team better? It's about him being available for the playoffs. Staying
Mm-hmm.
healthy. He doesn't necessarily have to have a great regular season. Doesn't have to lead them in scoring or anything. They just need him when it matters the most, which is of course April, May, June.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, they have a lot of young talent there, but they felt that they could, he would be the piece there. I mean, there's some debate there. I mean, he's a little older, hasn't been as healthy. Things haven't worked out at the last two spots for him per se. But maybe this is where so much talent there in Houston still. So I mean, they really
Mm-hmm.
didn't. Maybe not as good defensively, but I mean, they still have a lot of young talent there. So I mean, they should be at or better than what they were this year. Of course, main thing
Mm-hmm.
now, they'll be fine in the regular season. It's about figuring out how to win in the playoffs. So I mean, they brought in a veteran who knows who's had runs in the playoffs, knows how to win. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out with him. But yeah, it's just about him staying healthy and being there to lead them in the biggest months of the NBA playoff season.
Yeah. Um, and time will tell, of course, what more moves some of these teams will make. Of course, free
Oh yeah,
agency hasn't
tomorrow
even really started yet. Yeah,
starts
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah.
We've seen a couple re-signings and stuff. LeBron will take his player option with the Lakers. Right? He's taken it or declined it? No, he took the.
Yeah, no, I took it. Yeah,
He's staying in LA either
52,
way.
52.6 million option.
Yeah.
Phew.
James Harden declined his option with the Clippers, but he's going to sign a new 2-year contract.
80, 81 and a
Yeah,
half.
81. Whew, crazy. Bobby Portis staying in Milwaukee.
The Rockets re-signed. Jabari Smith got a
Smith. Yeah.
$122 million contract.
You got his rookie extension. Oklahoma, we mentioned Jalen Williams. I think he's going to sign an extension.
It's not even if that not his number is not big at all. It was like 3 years, 20 million or 24 million or something. I was just like, is that right? Like I understand, like you maybe not the biggest star coming in, but man, they're getting him on a cheap deal.
Definitely, absolutely. You nailed it. 3 years, 24.
I was like, man, is this right? Come on, he like literally was like this, arguably the set. You know, if he wasn't in OKC, he might be like the number one on the team. But man, he's come. Yeah, but they've done a good job with that. So yeah, get him cheap while you can, because that next contract, he's definitely gonna go up if he keeps on playing how he played this playoff season and this whole season. Honestly,
Yeah. Let's see where Julius Randle's going to sign a 3-year, $100 million deal to stay in Minnesota. Duncan Robinson will decline his option and become a free agent there in Miami. The team does still have hopes that they'll work out a long-term contract. We mentioned Colin Sexton going from Utah to Hornets. Joseph Nurkic is going back the other way. Let's see, Lonnie Walker IV is going to become a free agent. Dorian Finney-Smith is going to become a free agent. Eric
DeAndre Ayton's
Gordon.
a free agent.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton, probably the biggest name right now that's going to become a free agent. Team looking for a center. Oh, Jesus, he's going to end up in New Orleans, isn't he? Oh, damn it. Oh, well. Killed us that one year.
More than you expect. All day, every day. Like buy one, add one for $1 deal at everyone.
But
He's had such a roller coaster of a career. DeAndre
really
Ayton.
has, yeah. Really has, yeah. He killed New Orleans in that series they had with Phoenix a few years ago. Or New Orleans gave him hell and took him to 6 games, but Ayton was just a killer.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's something else I saw. Oh yeah, Bojan Bogdanovic is going to retire. After a 10-year career, he's just too many injuries. He says.
Yeah.
He's been battling a current foot injury for 14 months now, and he says it's just time to close this chapter. Had a solid career. He's bounced all over the place, but he's been a good role player, and averaged 15 points a game. That's not shabby at all in the league.
No, not at all.
Well, yeah.
Anytime you play a double digit years in the NBA, man, that's nothing to sneeze at all.
Yeah.
And 10 productive years too, on top of that. So
Let's see. Orlando's going to decline the team option for Mo Wagner. But they still retain the bird rights to both, to him, so they will have a chance to re-sign him. Of course, he had an injury-battled season. Started off hot, but then tore his ACL in December. Of course, not to be confused with his brother Franz Wagner. But so we'll see if he stays there or finds another home. But yeah, so now we mentioned free agency starts Monday morning. So we'll see. We'll see what moves are made. When all these trades become official from the draft, teams can start trading their or start signing their draft picks, and yeah, we'll see. It's now the team building part of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get these. We usually get some last couple of seasons. Free agency in the NBA has not disappointed, so we'll see what we get this.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing people really wonder if Giannis is going to move it on. It's been super quiet on that front on all sides, so we'll see how
Yeah,
that
something
plays
tells
out.
me that he's not, but who knows? Yeah, the quiet
Yeah,
is it's hard to tell.
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean it because I mean, really, who who has that many pieces? Because yeah, they're gonna want to any and everything back for him. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna you're gonna have to give up a lot, and who have teams that have a lot to offer, not necessarily even interested in making that move.
Yeah.
So
But let's see. What else did we miss while we're gone? Of course, the College World Series wrapped up while we're gone. LSU wins their second title in
oh,
3
shoot.
years. And certainly deserve it. They earned it. However, one of the bigger stories coming out of it might be in the second game.
Yeah,
Coastal Carolina's manager was tossed in the first inning, and man,
first man,
I know that there's rules about arguing balls and strikes or whatever, and he was apparently
like
told
come
to quit arguing, and he didn't. But man, yeah,
man, well,
you were about to
come
say
on,
it.
we
Come
talk
on,
about
yeah.
the biggest game of your season, elimination game, national title on the line. Man, you gotta, but we all know this is a umpire who's had his issues in the past. There, I mean, it's the reason why he's no longer was in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
He had an issue a couple years ago in the regional with Clemson. It was like in the bottom of the 13th, he was ejecting people. So I mean, yeah, he's had man, you gotta chill out. Like it's not about you as like
Yeah, you
yeah, it's
gotta
fun.
you gotta call timeout. Go talk to the guy. Tell him to calm down. Tell him that
You
tell
move
him
along with the
control the
game.
game. Yeah, run along the game. You don't have to sit there and get yelled at, but you can go over there and be like, "Hey, man, I hear you. That's it. Like, let's go. Like, it's first inning. Like,
Yeah,
let's go. Like, let's play this
yeah,
game." And
right. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that man, you can't. You just gotta, man, you gotta have thicker skin, and you gotta recognize the situation, and you gotta move. Because I mean, you gotta look at it, man. I understand it's a little different in college baseball with especially balls and strikes. But man, you look at like what football referees and basketball referees deal with on a daily basis. I mean, they get caught everything in under the sun, and
yeah,
they have more restraint. I mean, he didn't get cussed at or anything really. So I mean, who knows if that would have even changed the game? But I mean, it kind of threw off the. You kind of felt like the momentum really dropped. It was hard to bounce back from that, and they kind of jumped on that. LSU jumped on that momentum right away, and got the sweep there. I mean, I, probably win the series regardless, because I mean they were playing great baseball. But man, you hate to see the biggest part of a championship series be known for what the umpire did in game two there.
no, absolutely.
Especially, I mean, game
Yeah, it's
one.
kind.
I mean, it was so close. I mean, we had a 1-0 game. Could have. Coastal left like what 10 guys in scoring position that game. I mean, so obviously they were right there with LSU. And had the opportunities in game one, but you just hate to see that be the dominant story out of a great finals. Like probably definitely the two hottest teams in America at that point.
Oh
As a
yeah, for sure. I
defining
mean,
thing.
before the game one, what Coastal had won 27, 28 games
26.
in a row. It's
Yeah,
26. Yeah,
just wow. And
yeah.
LSU have been playing great baseball. I mean, Came to Omaha, didn't lose at all in Omaha, which is very
Mm-mm.
rare,
Yeah.
these days. Not to lose at all. Um,
But yeah,
but man,
like you mean,
yeah,
it
what's
takes
that?
away from
Something from
like we mentioned with OKC's win, no fault of their own.
yeah.
Something out of their control happens, and that's what
Well,
people are going to
always be
remember
mentioned.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but same time though, I mean, they definitely. You can't say that they didn't, belong. It's not like they had a fluke run or anything. I mean, they clearly were number one. It's the reason why they were number one throughout the whole season. And the Pacers, you know, definitely over. No one expected the Pacers to be anything like that they did. And who knows, if he stays that hot throughout the rest of the game there with Halliburton, or if that adjusts. Maybe it's a little closer. We have a classic game 7 if he's healthy. But yeah. You hate to see it, but with LSU winning now, they kind of enter into that chat of one of the best, greatest programs of all time when it comes to college baseball. Of
Oh,
course, maybe
absolutely.
not
And
the let's say eight titles since '90. I mean, that's
yeah,
crazy.
and they don't have the most. I think they're third maybe now
Yeah, I
behind
mean, USC, which hasn't
USC in
won since the
Arizona.
'70s. I
I
mean,
think they won
they've
one
kind of been
in.
doing.
I think they won one in the '90s, but
But it's been a while. I mean, they've been a dormant program for a while there. I mean,
it
clearly
is.
UCLA is the best team in LA. But
Yeah. Well, it's definitely something. It's an argument that you can make that LSU has
yeah,
overtaken SC as the team with the or as the
yeah,
premier program in college baseball now.
right. Because I mean, you can look at it. I mean, Texas has been to the College World Series more, but I mean, when LSU goes, they win, and that's the I mean, that's
Yeah.
the big part of it. Omaha is not easy to win at. As we saw, I mean, you look at Dave Van Horn of Arkansas, probably the most cursed man right now in college baseball. Oh man, that's tough. I think he's been to
Yeah,
Omaha like 10 or 11 times now, and
and
still
once
nothing.
again, yeah, and once again, Arkansas.
Cursed.
How close were they to
Worse than that game 3.
forcing that game 3? They had a chance to turn a double play. The shortstop threw for the lead runner. They
And
dropped
the
the line
best, not only
drive.
that, but
It's
the
just
best player, arguably in America,
yeah,
one of the
just
best players in America, not just anybody, shortstop, but literally the SEC Player of the Year, up for National Player of the Year, and he makes a move. Just some of the stuff that happened to them. It's like, my goodness, like it's just not meant to be.
it's
Things that they would never
absolutely
do it,
it's
never do again. They'll never make those mistakes again.
no, yeah,
It's just wild how that fell apart in the ninth like that.
yeah, it's
Oh,
just absolutely yeah, insane. A play that any other time he just makes routinely, just
oh,
fires
absolutely,
it to second
no
base. You get
question.
the
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just crazy. But yeah, this puts now LSU in second place, or they still are in second place. They were before, but yeah, 8th title since '91.
That's wild.
And like you said, they make it to Omaha. They win. They've made the championship series 9 times, only lost once.
Hmm.
SC 12 titles overall, so they still got a little catching up to do. But like we said, SC's last title was '98. So
Yeah, man, it's been a while.
the argument, of
What
course, is there that LSU is the premier program in college baseball.
right now? I mean, there's really no questions.
Yeah, no question right now.
Jay
But
Johnson is wow, great
and that's
coach.
what 6
We saw
straight.
him win it. I mean, we saw that man win at Arizona. He wins it. He wins everywhere he goes. So I mean, he's a hell of a
Yeah,
coach, and we'd have to think he's not going anywhere anytime soon in Baton Rouge. So, man,
no, yeah. This marks a 6 straight title for the SEC as well.
yeah,
We mentioned LSU is their second and third 3 years. Coastal, of course, great season on their own.
absolutely.
They're great program there. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, I mean, you gotta look. I mean, college baseball is probably the only major sport where you can still really, even though Coastal's not really a mid-major when when it comes to baseball. I mean, they're a premier program, but I mean, you got to think their NIL money compared to others' NIL money, and to be that good is still that's why we like that's why we love the stories in Omaha and stuff like that, because it's not, honestly, we're gonna see less of that in college football, definitely. Maybe even in college basketball, different years we're not gonna see a lot of Cinderella's type. So I mean, that was it's just amazing with his how good they are despite some of the financial differences compared to I mean, you gotta look night and day in NIL compared to like LSU, and then
Yeah.
still in the championship series there. So
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that was a good season, good tournament, good World Series.
yeah,
Can't wait till this time next year. Let's see, moving on. Not much else, Major League
kind of
Baseball
in
is just
that. Yeah,
rolling
we're kind of in
along.
that dead period. We've had so much. I mean, we went from the NCAA tournament to the the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, College World Series, and now we're kind of the Women's College World Series. Now we're kind of in that regular season mode of, man, we got good Major League Baseball, WNBA going, but I mean, it's just like you're kind of in a huh. It's not a nothing. As far as playoff wise, we had a hell of a run from March to June is a hell of a run.
Yeah, no,
That's
it
stuff going
absolutely
on.
is. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of great just time for sports. And so it calms down a little bit. Of
Absolutely.
course, we got Major League Baseball. That's rolling along. Pretty much
Hmm.
just leading up to the trade deadline.
Yeah.
We'll start maybe to see some trades before then. I do have some international soccer stuff going on. The Gold Cup going on right now. The U.S. advanced tonight, beat Costa Rica
Yeah.
on penalties in
And
the
a shootout.
quarterfinals.
Phew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Club World Cup is also going on, but no one really cares about that. Uh,
Hmm.
and other than that, it's July 1st opens the transfer window for players, so we'll see a lot of guys move teams and more
Yep.
roster building there all season for club teams. Uh, NFL, some mini camps, stuff like that going on right now.
Yep.
Let's see, off the field news. Justin Tucker was handed a 10-week suspension for his
Yeah.
misconduct, as they put it.
I don't think anybody will ever touch him just because.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I don't think anybody will touch him, at least until the criminal or civil investigation
Yeah. Just
finishes
because, I
up.
mean,
And
even though he's one of the best kickers all time, I mean, it's a position you can find somebody who, with a clean, that can kick, with no history, that can
exactly,
kick
and
show.
it didn't help that he struggled the past season or two. Although he
Yeah,
did turn it on toward the end of this year. He
right.
actually probably I'll say last 10 games total. He really actually did
Yeah.
look like the old Justin Tucker.
Hmm.
But yeah, just I was talking with a buddy of mine the other day from Baltimore too. But a sad way to end a absolutely great career in
Yeah.
Baltimore for a guy that can be argued as the greatest kicker of all time.
Yeah. For a
At least
while, I mean, he was
statistically.
Mr.
So yeah,
Automatic from anywhere. If he was coming on the field, you thought, man, he's gonna make this kick.
exactly.
Yeah.
Owns the longest 66 yarder now. Owns the NFL record for that. I believe he's still number one in field goal accuracy percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely. If he was coming on and it was under 40 yards, it was an absolutely automatic 3 points. If it was under 50 yards, it was pretty much an automatic 3 points. And even,
Right.
50 plus, you're like, it's probably going in.
There's a good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't miss many. Other than that, nothing. I think I don't know if we mentioned it, if it was even last week or last time we talked or happened in between, but Antonio Brown is wanted for investigation into a murder.
Yeah. Guys.
Yeah, so that's really just unfortunate. Speaking of
Wow.
guys that careers just really
Spiral.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really spiral.
Oh, I know. Yeah, of course. Jair Alexander is now a Raven.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
He can
huge.
stay healthy. That's a huge. He can
Yeah,
stay
that
healthy.
puts him in that gives you a chance to rotate him, Marlon Humphrey, and Nate Wiggins, of course, last year's rookie, who was
Yeah.
going to be a start, going to be a number one corner before long.
Yeah.
And that was just a great recruitment there. He is a college teammate of Lamar Jackson. When he got released by the Packers, Lamar made a tweet that said, "Go get him," and lo and behold, a few days later, they did that.
Boom. Yeah.
Eric DaCosta, Ravens GM, did just that. 1 year, $6 million deal. And he apparently turned down a bigger offer with someone else to stay in Baltimore or to go to Baltimore to play with Lamar. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so huge there. Simon in
Absolutely.
that Ravens trying to really, they struggled early last year, kind of turned it around toward the end of the year, but that secondary looked really rough at times, and now all of a sudden it's looking pretty good with draft pick Malachi Starks. Look like he's going to be really good right away. He's playing next to Kyle Hamilton there.
Mm-hmm.
You got this signing. Of course, since they are the Ravens, did have an injury. Our Darius Washington, their other safety, is going to be out for the year. He tore an ACL in a workout. That's tough. But other than that, still quiet for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably see closer once we get closer to training camps in the preseason. We'll probably see some more veteran guys that haven't been signed.
Right. Yeah.
They'll latch on with teams. Let's see elsewhere. I mentioned the Gold Cup, mentioned soccer. Yeah, it's not really. I don't have anything else in my notes. I don't think anything really happened in.
I would say for college
Texas
football,
State's going to Pac-12. Yeah. I
yeah.
guess.
And then for Alabama's recruiting that jumped off this past week, we
Ooh.
got some big moves there. So that's
Did they ever?
Xavier
Yeah.
Griffin today. Got the running back that's the tight end on Thursday, big week. There's sense we're looking like a couple more coming. We're just for a guy who supposedly can't recruit. We're looking pretty good for the 26.
I'm about to say a lot of rival fans got shut up this week with that.
Yeah, they
Particularly
really
some
did.
Auburn fans, because as Alabama was signing these big time recruits, Auburn was losing a few, and some reports of Hugh Freeze spending more time
Playing
on the
a lot
golf
of
course
golf.
than on the recruiting trail. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, for a guy who, that's what first couple of, he had some strong recruiting classes, but yeah, this one is looking very, oof, yeah, and they're not a, and what especially considering, I mean, this is his make or break kind of season. I think he has to win 8 games to stay in
Mm-hmm.
past this year at Auburn. They start to get a little crazy there. And man, yeah, that's when they're looking at your handicaps and realizing, hey, you've been on the golf course half the month of June, yeah, and we're sitting in like what 70 some in recruiting, yeah, that's not a good look.
No, it's not. And I think even more than just 8 games, I think one of them at least one has to be a big win. They need to beat
Oh
a
yeah, you
Georgia
gotta,
and Alabama,
yeah,
somebody, because if you just win 8 games, but it's against the also rans or whatever, and your 4 losses, or Alabama, Georgia, the 4 best teams on your schedule, then
yeah,
what have you really done?
right, exactly.
And if you're not
And
tearing it up on the recruiting trail, that's kind of been the thing the last couple of years. He has been
they've
recruiting very
been,
well,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. So we will see how it goes. Of course, they have that right out the gate. I mean, the interesting game with Baylor. So that, and boy, you lose that game. Whew, we know how them folks get down there.
yeah. Let's
They
see
get
what else. Yeah, they'll get touchy. What else did we miss? Oh, of course, Florida Panthers won their second straight Stanley Cup.
yeah.
Canada still without a cup win since 1993. I saw
Right.
a funny stat that the and a team from the United States has more recently won the Grey Cup, the CFL's trophy, than a Canadian
That's
team just won the
funny.
Stanley Cup, and that was the
That's
Baltimore
funny.
Stallions back in 1995 when the CFL made a big expansion into the states and had a whole American conference, and Baltimore's team
That's
won
pretty
it. I went to a few of those games. It was some
nice.
good football, but
That's funny.
it's just a
That
crazy
is
stat
hilarious.
to
Yeah. Who
to
would ever think that?
exactly, yeah.
Wow.
Got to get Connor McDavid one, man. He's one of the best players of this generation, and yeah, you want to see him win a cup before
No, yeah.
his
Absolutely.
career comes to an end. But yeah, that's all I got. Greg, you got anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think
Did you watch any of
we kind of.
the Night of Champions or anything this weekend? I did
I
not
did.
catch it.
Yeah, I did.
Hmm.
Most of it was pretty predict. As an adult, a lot of it's so easy to predict. A lot of it. I mean, I kind of figured it was gonna
Yeah.
go as planned there. You know, co- I was so I knew in my heart I knew Cody was gonna win. I wanted Randy to win.
Hmm.
That's his. I feel like Randy's always right there, but they won't let him get over again. Uh, I just want to see him get over one more time there, but then the you know the funniest part though is just the whole John Cena situation. I think it's so funny, and then what he did last night, or I guess not necessarily. I watched it last night, but I guess it was really at noon Central Time because it was, of course, in Saudi Arabia there. But looked like he had turned back into a good guy for a quick second. With CM Punk, they cleared the ring of all the Braun Breaker and them, and then of course they embraced, and then he gave that evil look that he did, and and laid out CM Punk, and of course retained the title there. So still going that heel move at least through SummerSlam,
So
which is
yeah,
hilarious.
I was about to say yeah. So it
So
hasn't been as good as we hoped it would be his heel run, but it has its moments.
does
So
have
yeah,
its
I didn't.
moments. Great mic work. I mean, he's done some great things on the mic. But you know, um, I guess it'd be interesting to see if they let Of course, the other thing, of course, Solo Sikoa winning the Intercontinental title. The another what's the I can't think of his name right now, but that dude just 6'9", 6'10" that laid out Jacob Fatu. It's in their
Mm,
family, man. Just so it's a and then Tomatong the is it Tomatonga or the one that was hurt hadn't been in there since War Games came back as well. So looks like another
I
bloodline.
think
I know
there was
another bloodline was Tonga Loa.
yeah, it's Tonga Loa that came back, and then was it
Yeah,
Hikuleo? Not sure if I'm
yeah,
saying that right. He's the guy you're talking
yeah,
about debuting there. Yeah.
yeah. He laid out Jacob Fatu, right? Laid him
Hmm.
out. So they got another. What's this? Solo Sikoa's second bloodline with
Yeah.
him and child. Yeah. So that be interesting to see what they do with Jacob Fatu there. Of course, the only thing I don't like about WWE right now is it seems like everybody that's super over with the fans keep getting losses.
Yeah,
Just super over.
they're big into the slow build. But you got to imagine that Fatu's time's coming because he is just a star,
Yeah,
man. He is,
yeah, he's a star.
yeah, just a
Everybody loves
star.
him.
Man.
And then be interested if they let Jay Cargill win a title. Um,
Yeah, Queen of
she
the
won
Ring.
Queen of the Ring there. She's talented, but man, she's still sloppy in the ring. I don't know.
Yeah, putting her with Asuka was definitely the right call because Asuka can help that out, and
Carrier.
they
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
She's still kind of
but
sloppy in the ring, so she's
but
getting
she
better.
works too. Yeah, if they play to her strengths and just I think they need more squash matches with her. Just let her dominate. Let her show
Yeah,
off her strength and have her work on the more technical, longer match
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah. So it'd be
You know,
interesting if they let her get
and
over and win
yeah.
a title with SummerSlam or not.
Yeah, we'll see what that happens in the King of the Ring. Cody took that, of course, like you said,
Yeah.
over Randy Orton. So we'll get
And I have
Cody
to think
versus
Cena
yeah,
at
yeah,
SummerSlam. And I would have to think probably Cody wins the title and then John Cena goes back to being a good guy for the rest of his 6 months. Or
I don't know. Yeah,
what?
I just don't know how they're
I
going
don't
to
know
play
what
that
they.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And
Um.
then I talking wrestling again. Yeah, and I'm a big Jey Uso fan, and
Mhm.
I knew he was gonna lose the Gunther, but the fact that they did not let that man get the one PLE with the title defense was wild.
Yeah,
They didn't
that's
even let that.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Didn't even get one
Uh.
title. I mean, if there's anybody that's been over more with the fans than him, it's been
Mhm.
nobody. But I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but
So.
it's interesting though. I mean, obviously they've letting on the women's side it's interesting. They're letting a lot of the younger, a lot of the new talent really um, get their time there.
Yeah,
Of
they're
course,
really pushing
eventually,
that next generation of the female
yeah.
stars. They're
I got the new U.S. champion and Julia. She beat
mhm.
Selena Vega last night.
Yeah.
Um, they've been really pushing.
Stephanie Vacour.
Yeah, Vacour, and
Ro-
I can't think. Perez, they've really been pushing her.
Roxanne
She
Perez.
loses
Yeah.
a Roxanne. She loses a lot, but she's been on a lot of big matchups since she's moved up
Yeah,
to the
and
big leagues.
in
So
that storyline with the Judgment Day and all that, of course, she'll probably, unfortunate Liv Morgan's going to be out for a little bit with her injury, but
yeah,
should open
looks
up
like
some
she's
doors,
gonna
yeah,
be.
for a couple of these younger girls.
Yeah, so
Um,
we'll see how it all plays out there, but
yeah, and of
see what
course in the
SummerSlam brings.
in
But,
NXT side of things, the artist formerly known as Mariah May
yeah,
debuted as Blake Monroe, big signing
yeah,
for NXT and
huge.
for their women's division as well. And then on the
Yeah,
AEW side of things, I've been watching that some more
Mhm.
recently, and their weekly shows are really good, man. They're putting
They have
together
been.
some really good
Yeah.
storylines for heading toward All In. Texas Courts All In is their big event every
Mhm.
year. I just wish, man, they could get those PLEs or pay per views on Max.
Yeah, they got to figure that out so everybody can watch them.
Yeah,
Because
'cause,
that really got me back into WWE when I could watch,
mm-hmm.
once they moved to, because I knew some of the stuff was going on, but I wasn't watching, honestly. Probably 5, 6 years I hadn't watched wrestling until, they moved to Peacock. And then, man, that really got me back into it. I was like, well, damn, I can watch all the events, at least start following stuff. So, yeah, so they could get that. I think that would really help them in the long run with just maybe some of the older wrestling fans who maybe have, not, but yeah, I
No,
think that would be
yeah,
huge for them. Um,
yeah. Ideally, the ideal situation for AEW there is to get their big events on Max, so you can
yeah,
attract even more viewers, and then they own Ring of Honor too. If they could get a weekly show on Max too as well, I think that would be
yeah, I
huge
mean,
because
that would be huge.
Ring of
Yeah,
Honor's weekly show right now is I honestly couldn't even tell you.
and then they have the TNT shows, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah. AEW
and
has
now
their
that
AT&T shows, but I don't even know
yeah,
what channel Ring of Honor's weekly show is on now.
yeah, I have
I
no
know they have
idea.
one, but
Yeah,
don't know
and
what it
then
is yet.
I wanna some on the WWE side, man. I Why they brought Goldberg back at all? I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's so
just
terrible, so terrible. I hope Gunther. beat shit out of him. Honestly, like I just let that man. Why they brought him back? I don't know.
If there's a guy you ask me that I've never cared about, it is Goldberg. He had his
I
moment,
never like I didn't even like him as a kid.
No,
And
yeah,
just
I
because I
mean,
was
I
a
was
big
in
NWO, I was a big
exactly, yeah.
NWO guy, so
I
I
was
was
a
like,
big
man,
NWO
fuck
guy,
this
so
guy.
Goldberg coming and ruining things, I never liked
Yeah,
that, but I appreciated it, but
I mean it was fun,
yeah,
but I mean he has two moves. He
yeah,
he
two
has no
moves
st- and
ended Bret Hart's
he
career.
has no mic work.
Yeah, terrible on the mic. Not really a long term workhorse. He's a 2-trick pony,
No,
and
yeah,
and furthermore, he's just one of these guys where he's coming in as an older guy and he's taking these belts off, and he did it to Kevin Owens, he did it to Bray Wyatt. He's done it to these guys where he's taken steam
titles.
away from their runs, and that's not what you're
Yeah,
supposed to do as an older guy in the business.
no,
Come back, have a couple good matches, but put over the younger guys. And so
yeah,
this is going
absolutely.
to be his retirement match. I hope it's a squash. I hope Gunther sits on him, and
Yeah. The only other
and
fun thing would be if somehow if he were to win, and then Seth Rollins comes in and cashes
cashes
in on
in.
him.
That would be a
Yeah,
funny
that'd be pretty epic.
way to let him win going out, but then screw him
Yeah,
over.
then lose. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm just like, dude, did we really have to bring Goldberg back? Like, what was the point? And, like, what does he
Uh,
have on people? Why do they
easy
keep letting him come into the storyline?
easiest way to get me to skip a segment, man. If I see Goldberg, I'm like, all right, time to skip it.
Yeah,
And the only two Goldberg segments I've ever liked in my life, or pretty much the only feud, was when uh, his feud against The Rock early in his WWE debut.
yeah.
The Rock was, Hollywood Rock back then.
Hmm.
Just some absolute hilarious shit come from The Rock. And then when he used
Absolutely.
Gilbert to make fun of him, that was always
Oh, hilarious.
hilarious to me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
me and Bert.
I'm
I,
out. Yeah,
I, I've never
I'm
been a fan. In his heyday, I wasn't a fan.
nah,
So,
me
but
neither.
now
Yeah,
I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But
yeah,
hey,
don't
what's
care. Get it off my TV. Yeah.
yeah. Saturday night main event, 2 weeks. Gets
Yeah.
his title
Like I
thing
said, hope it's a
in
squash match.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. Hopefully it's kind of like when who was it when he fought who was it WrestleMania a couple years ago and he got slaughtered.
Oh, who did he fight? Um,
He's back in AEW now. Damn, I can't even think of his name. I don't know why I can't think.
yeah, I'm totally blanking. I can see it, and
He
I can
does a
see him
hurt
losing
lot.
it.
I can't. Oh, why can't I
Oh,
think of his name?
was it Lashley?
Yeah, Bobby Lashley. He
Yeah, there you
slaughtered Goldberg at WrestleMania. Great, one
go.
of my favorite Goldberg matches ever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. I got Greg, yeah, anything done up real good from the past couple of weeks?
done up real good. Just man, um, I guess we'll just say, the Mavs getting Cooper Flag. I mean, that's rigged or not. It's just incredible. As bad as the situation looked after losing Luca and all the injuries, I mean, getting Cooper Flag kind of brings a little hope in a place where it's kind of dark. We were really, saw the face of the franchise kind of get traded for arguably not near what it should have been. And, Nico got lucky enough to pull strings to get the draft pick with Cooper Flag. So he gets a little time. Still don't think he's a popular guy in Dallas, but I mean, it saves his face a little bit. But yeah, man, if we could stay healthy, I mean, we got a roster, got a big roster too. I mean, a lot of size, a lot of depth there, a lot of young guys too. So could be a great run there if things go accordingly, which we know does happen a lot in the NBA. So, how about you?
I will give it to the Western Michigan weather. I work the Electric Forest Festival up there in June. That's where I was last week, why we didn't have a show. But, man, it is such a relief coming from the south and, the excessive
Yeah.
humidity and heat.
They
And,
probably would get the 80s max.
yeah, and, it was a heat wave for them. And, it gets warm. There's a couple days when there's, no clouds and it's just the sun. But as soon as you got in the shade or as soon as you got on a cart and drove around in the breeze, it was fine. And our Airbnb was right on the lake. It's just beautiful place. So, shout out to Western Michigan weather. We were up there. My wife worked with me. It's her first time working that festival. And she was like, we could live here. And I'm like, yeah, just remember what winter's like. And then, but maybe one day have a summer home there if we're lucky enough.
Right. Right. Visit during the appropriate months in the summer. Yeah, definitely not where you want to be in January and February.
Yeah, no,
Because
not at all.
unfortunately in the north, as we know, things do not shut down.
No,
Still expected to go to work and still expected to live and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the downfall of winter in the north.
Yeah. But yeah, so that does it for us this week, folks. We'll be back next week, I think. Pretty sure. We'll find some stuff to talk about anyway.
Yeah, find some stuff.
Yeah, before you know it, it'll be time for starting football previews and then football season. So,
pretty much. I mean, once we get to the SEC media days and the media days, it kind of that's what I count as more or less the start of college football. So that'll
I believe we're 9 Saturdays away from Alabama's opener in Tallahassee.
Saturday, I saw it. Oh man, we're getting there. We're getting there. A lot of interesting stuff. I guess one other thing. So
no, go ahead.
Man, I get it. He's a great guy. I mean, he has the potential, and of course, he has the name Manning. But boy, I already have him as a preseason AP. Well, not AP, but it was like Athlon has him as their first team All American quarterback of 2 games in college. Jeez, they're really pushing the arch. They're really pushing the arch. I get it, but damn.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of guys out there that are really good with experience. So hey, we'll see.
It.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the right guy calling plays from there in Sark, man.
Sark is a QB whisperer. Yeah.
I mean, look what he did with Mac Jones, man.
Mac Jones. Boy, he looked like that 2020 year. Boy, Mac Jones looked like he was the greatest thing going.
I mean, there was a legit, that 2020 Alabama offense, just in general. But
man, just ridiculous.
As these preview magazines start to come out now, that's kind of that's always how I gauged it. It was like preview magazines, then college football comes out, and then which is July 10th this year, and then SEC media days, and then you're like, okay, here we're here. It's football season now.
We're here.
Fall camp starts, and then it'll be week 0 before you know it. And
I like to get all the all the predictions, and once we hit July, we really get all that, and just see where everything's at. But man, it's gonna be a beautiful time of the year, of course, of college football especially, and man, on the Alabama side, man, I'm looking forward to things because I think the offense that we thought we were going to have last year, I think this is what we'll see this year.
I think we see the real Kalen DeBoer offense now. But we'll, of course, talk about that closer to time comes and when we do our season previews. Yeah. But, again, thanks for listening, folks. As always, subscribe, rate, like, tell your friends, tell your rich friends about us. If you got a business, you want to throw us a sponsorship, holler at us. Just hit us up on any of the socials. Follow us, Taking On Sports, on any of your social media platforms. Check out the AlabamaTake.com for the Family of Alabama Take podcast. Of course, a lot of good writings and such up on the site as well. Keep it done up real good yourselves out there, folks. Greg, buddy, I'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.